Well, good morning everybody and welcome back to the channel. I'm out today with my old friend Davy. We're out in the two Bonnevils. Yeah, a pair of Bonnevils out having fun. It's an absolutely beautiful day here in Scotland in September. Looking out over, Loch Earn. We're just out for a wee potter around in the bikes today. I've known Davy for a long time, over 50 years. Davy's a bit of a legend in motorcycle circles in Scotland. He's been a biker all his days. I've come and gone from them from time to time. Maybe later on we'll get a wee chance to have a chat with him. Talk about his life a wee bit and his experience of motorcycling anyway. But for the moment, let's just enjoy the run along this beautiful part of Scotland, along the side of Loch Earn, heading towards Loch Earn Head. The mighty Glen Ogle Road. Over there's the old railway line. It must have been wonderful to see steam trains travelling along that line over that viaduct area over there. Now we're heading up into the Glencoe area, and it's looking wonderful today.
No two times do you ever come up Glencoe and it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Always different. The weather, the light.
It's a beautiful place, isn't it? These hills are absolutely stunning.
Yeah. Well, I used to have a tradition which I can't do now, but when we were coming up to to the Antler, weather permitting, and road permitting, and traffic permitting, which is a very narrow window nowadays, always used to take one of the bridges at 100. That was my tradition. Jill will be sitting on the back.
I hate your traditions.
Sometimes we act like a fool, not aware we're troublemakers. Sometimes we try to be cool, not being givers, only takers. Stop for a minute, stop and breathe for a minute. Don't get over your head, try to listen instead, won't you?
Well, me and Davy, we've just stopped in a wee, just to the side of the road, enjoying the Scottish countryside. The surrounding area up here in the Glencoe area is absolutely beautiful. I think we're on part of what would be the West Highland Way. There's a lot of walkers and stuff in the area, enjoying the scenery in the countryside. So I thought it would just be a nice wee place to sit and have a wee relaxing chat.
Yes.
It's me and Davy, we've known each other a long time. Must be over 50 years.
About 50 years, yeah.
And it's always been through motorbikes. We must have been of over 100 years of motorcycling experience between us.
Absolutely, yes.
It's quite scary when you put it like that.
Very scary.
Yeah, and we go back a long way. I can remember the first time I ever met you. I must have been, I don't know, about 17 or 18 year old. I can't even quite remember what bike I had. It would have been either my old Ariel Arrow or it was my Honda 305, I'm not very sure. And it was a bike club, the Devon Valley Motorbike Club in Alva.
Yep, that's correct.
Used to be in, was it 40s? Was it 40s Cafe?
It was the 40s Cafe, and then it moved to the hotel.
I don't remember that. I just remember it being up the stairs in the cafe.
Aye.
But I still remember your bike though. That bike was the first time I ever saw you on your blue Triton.
Right. Well, I didn't have that then.
Yeah, you did. You were there that night, we.
Yes, the first Blue Triton, that's correct. It would have been, which was the one with the high bars and upswept pipes. I think it would be. So that would be 71 when I had that one. And I built that one, which was the first of 5 marks of Triton.
I didn't realise you had as many as that.
First being that, which was very much inspired by watching Easy Rider in the ABC cinema in Falkirk. It was just mind blowing. Come out to all the people watching us starting the bikes up and then driving away, and all of what they'd just seen in the cinema and what they were seeing us driving away on. So that inspired me to build that bike, which was sort of semi-chop.
And I think the catalyst between the two of us was really our old friend Stuart, who sadly is no longer with us. He was the one who was always a close friend to both of us for all those years.
Yes, very sorely missed.
I was actually listening to his last CD the other night there, and I picked up the track where I thought you were going to sing in it, but you didn't quite sing in it.
I actually nearly started rapping in one of the takes, and I wish I had done that now, because that would have been quite good. I think that would have been different.
It certainly would. I might manage to dig up a wee bit of that track and stick it up into this video.
That would be interesting, definitely. So.
Oh, Davy, is that your new bike? That's my new Blue Triton. Isn't it shiny? Well, I'll tell you, man, only 3-wheeler could take that any day. I don't think so. Just watch this baby go. What do you think? Put money on it then, eh? As much as you want.
But you've had a long, many years in biking, haven't you? You've got quite a career.
Yeah, well, my first bike was an NSU Quigley that I got when I was 14, and it cost me 2 and 6.
That was a lot of money then.
It was a lot of money. My paper round it paid for it, and I pedalled it the 4 miles from Bonnybridge to Denny. And I tinkered about with that bike for 2 or 3 months, and I never ever got it going, and I sold it for 1 and 6. But that was my first bike.
But in the, kind of a lot of the early days of when I knew you were quite into racing as well. I remember you were sponsored by Turner Racing and things, wasn't it?
That was my second racing career. First one started in 72. It was the police to blame, really, because although I'd been to see the racing, I didn't think I would take it up, but they managed to wangle a conviction and ban me for 3 months, and in the 3 months I built the racer, because I had nothing else to do, because I always thought, well, I might as well give this a go, because you looked at the side of the track and you were standing there and you thought, I can do better than that. Which wasn't the case to begin with, but I got better. That was only 3 years of racing, which we accumulated in a big crash at Scarborough in 73, and that put me out of action for a year and stopped me racing for about 4 years before I came back again in 78. And the 4 years in the meantime I was still involved commentating at Knockhill and East Fortune, so I still had an involvement in it, but I always fancied getting back, and it took me quite a few years to get fit again after being quite badly injured, but never the same again, not as good as I was then, due to injuries, and you change your mental thinking when you've had a big accident, because you don't want it to happen again, so you don't take the same risks as you did before. So self-preservation becomes very important.
You're not still a record holder from Silloth circuit.
I am. I still hold the production lap record at Silloth.
Yeah, pretty good, eh?
That
Was
is
that
indeed.
a highlight of your career? Would you have a-
1978. So, a July meeting it was. Absolutely excellent. So, yes, that's one of my claims to fame.
You moved on from racing as well, though. You had actually a career in motorcycling. So when you had a bike dealership.
Yes, I always fancied making a living doing what I loved, but actually it changes, and I didn't realise that at the time. But I started off part-time working still at the ICI as an engineer, and then moved at nights and weekends in a wee shop in Bainsford, just fixing and sorting bikes up and selling bits. And in 1980 I basically went full time and started the shop up, Easy 2 in Falkirk, and we got to the dizzy heights of 2 franchises, Kawasaki and Yamaha, employing about 9 people, quite a big turnover, but it was very difficult times then. The Thatcher era of boom and bust, and it was really difficult to get through the bust times. And after 15 years, the second big Thatcher recession really got me, so I shut the shop and moved on.
Mm-hmm.
But it was good and bad times. You had to work very hard, and it no longer became your hobby.
I think my recollection of the Bainsford shop was a couple of times. There was a few bikes I took out. I remember an SR 500 Yamaha I took out, and I thought, wow, that's a lovely, lovely bike. I was on your GPZ 750 Turbo as well. I can't remember whether you were just over at Stewart's or if I had it away somewhere. I'm not very. I remember riding along up from Devon side up towards Fishcrossish area. But the highlight was always, I think I'd done some electrical work in the shop for you at that time, and there was never going to be any payment or anything, but as a wee kind of thank you, you gave me the demonstrator away for a few days and I had this 1000cc GTR Kawasaki. Yeah. I thought, I had a ball with that. I had it for about 3 or 4 days, and I was all over Scotland. I absolutely loved it, and I kept thinking, he must be crazy, because up to that point, I think the biggest bike I ever had on the road was my 305 Honda.
Right.
I'd never really ridden a big bike, and I had this 1000cc, brand new 1000cc bike. But it was a lovely, lovely bike. It was a great experience.
Yeah, it was a fabulous big bike, but it was a big bike. It was big and heavy.
Mm.
And I actually took it to the TT that year, and it was pouring the rain all the way down to Heysham, and I wasn't getting wet at all, which was great. And then we had to wait for 6 hours out in the pouring rain for the ferry, so I got soaked in, so it didn't make any difference. I was still wet when I got to the Isle of Man. But yeah, it was a lovely big comfortable cruiser, capable of just tearing the miles up.
But you've still got quite a few bikes now, but your kind of passions, where's it lying with kind of Nortons, isn't it?
Nortons are my passion, but of all the bikes I had, the sort of 2 favourites must be my 3 favourites. My old Norton Model 7, which I've had for 50 years, GPZ Turbo, and the Triton, the last one I ever built, the 8-valve Triton, which came from a racing background, and that was a fabulous bike on the road, and one which I'm going to build a replica of. Mm-hmm. And updated a wee bit, modernised, but still basically the same bike.
You've certainly had a lot of success with the Model 7 recently, because a lot of the kind of shows you've been taking it to, you've been picking up prizes for the kind of best biking show and things, and it's a beautiful bike.
It is, it's a lovely wee bike, and it's a lovely wee bike to drive.
And it's part of it is the best bit, is the kind of heritage. I mean, I've been owning it for 50 years, and lying in it as a pile of bits for many, many years as well.
Yes.
But it's got such a connection to you.
Yeah, it's one I'll never part with. You know, that's never going to be sold, that's going to be kept. But yeah, so it's a lovely wee bike, and it looks fabulous.
We're actually so lucky living in Scotland.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful country.
It's a fabulous country for motorbikes, if the weather's good. And a lot of the time the weather is good. It's not as bad as people make out. But we're lucky in having such wide open roads we can still ride on and enjoy.
And there are still a lot of roads in Scotland that you can go and enjoy without millions of traffic on it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You can sometimes go very, very long distances and hardly see any vehicles.
No, it's nice sitting here chatting to you. And motorbike terms in Scotland, you're a bit of a legend. You've been around. I've been off and on bikes. I come and go over the years, but you've been there constantly. Your whole life has been very heavily involved in bikes.
56 years basically I've been driving bikes.
And still doing it.
Yep.
And still
And
very capable.
Yep. Not going to stop.
So it's been really nice sitting here. It's nice chatting to you. It's been great having you as a friend for over 50 years. And long may that continue for the next 50 years.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Sometimes we try to be cool, not being givers.
That was a nice little stop there. It was really nice sitting there in the sunshine and the beautiful scenery in the background, chatting to Davy, an old friend for many, many years. I hope you enjoyed this little interview. Something I've never done before. I'm definitely not a natural, that's for sure. Hopefully you may have found it interesting. Anyway, for now, take care, ride safe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.